You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Okay, life advice. And if you want to have us fix your life, not just your back porch, that was the old thing we used to do on the radio show. It's lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. Let's finish with a light one here because I like this one. Maybe one day we will do a best of, hey, I'm 20s and I'm kind of confused right now. Maybe we won't do that one, but I'm just saying we could. Okay, this is from John. Good morning. I'm in the same spot as a lot of emailers. Year out of college, solid but not great job. Moving out on my own soon. However, I have a less career and hopefully different question. I'm about 6. He says I'm about 6 feet and in parentheses 5'11", 195 with a 285-pound bench. So an intermediate lifter. Wondering if the next step in order to progress to a 3-plate bench is getting a shoulder tattoo. Most of the bigger dudes at the gym have one, and I'm wondering if it's a good decision. Am I jacked enough? I'm the third, so leaning towards a Roman numeral 3 or something. How corny is this? He's calling himself out. Then he says to me, you seem to have a good balance of confidence and only slightly douchey. Let me know. That's from John. Fair description of me. I will allow it. Although I do think that people that think I'm just a dick all the time, I'm like, yeah, I don't really know that you get that I'm kind of, making fun of myself a lot too with the way I'll phrase some things. But whatever, we're not going to worry about those. If you're still listening to this podcast an hour later for life advice, you've probably figured that out at some point, or you just love this segment. And this is a really good question. Really good question. Okay, let's start with my tattoo timeline. I just missed it. I missed that whole thing. I missed the whole ecstasy and weird stuff you'd hear about on the internet with stuff happening with people in relationships at college. And I was like, what the hell happened? Like, how did college turn into Ibiza or Ibiza if you're cultured? So a lot of that stuff, I mean, Red Bull vodka was probably the most outrageous thing that happened. And it was right after, like, nobody ever drank mixed drinks when we were in college. Like when you're younger, it was just who has the worst beer, and then let's go there. And then, yeah, when you get a little bit older, maybe you order yourself a Tanqueray and tonic and think you were fucking Gatsby. But things evolved really quickly, and part of that was I don't know if it was the acceptance of the internet or whatever it was, but I could see as I was bartending in the college town that I was still in, I was like, things are like really getting wild here quick. And part of that was tattoos. So I just missed that tattoo window. Had I been younger, I probably would have gotten one and then regretted it, because the chances are whatever you want that looks cool, you probably can't even afford it right now. So when I see a guy with a sleeve, I'll admit I get a little jealous. I have big arms. I'm like, you know what would be sick is a sleeve. But you know what? I don't think it's going to play a sleeve at 45, because then my parents are going to think something's wrong with me and I'm into meth. Like at 45, it's just a little too late. Although, look, trust me, I kind of thought it was cool, especially the guys have the one that kind of creeps over the top of their hand. And in my profession, I can now get away with it. Now, I don't train Muay Thai that much, so it might not be a great fit. The bench hasn't been terrific with some of these injuries, but man, were you guys asking about my abs? Because I feel like that wasn't in the email. Okay, so back to John. First of all, don't get on your case for your bench being at 285 and 195 pounds, because if you're just a year out of college, the man strength is a few years away and you're going to be putting up big numbers. So don't worry about it. It's just magically going to happen one day where you're like, oh my God, I'm a man and now I have man strength. I mean, maybe not for everybody, but I feel like that's happened to a lot of guys. You just keep plugging away, and then something just sort of unlocks in you when you get a little bit older. 285 is really good, man. Good for you at 195. But it looks a hell of a lot cooler with 6 plates when you're repping that out. And trust me, I never was at a point where I was just like throwing around 6 plates 8 to 10 times. I wasn't. So sorry if I shattered that image for you. So you probably can't afford what you want. So that's kind of a no. And if you're now comparing yourself to other lifters in the gym because you like their sleeves, and what do you want to be, like part of the sleeve gang? The sleeve gang may not even accept you. They may be like, oh, the guy who only benches 285. Again, not a bad number. But if they're really like the big guys from the gym, and then you're like, hey guys, want to see my sleeve? I don't know. Is that what you really want to do? Or do you want to prove it to them in other ways? So I would hold off on it right now. The Roman numeral 3, it's not like you said, I want a dream catcher, but I want the dream catcher to have Oliver Stone's face on it. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what you just said here. So the 3, it's the family. It's got the Roman thing. I'm down with that. Like I could see that a little bit. Maybe you make the 3 all the way down the the outside part of the bicep and make them like pillars as if it's your foundation. And then there's things that are interweaved in there. So people seem to like dragons and skulls and boats. But, that's a lot. So the 3 itself, I mean, again, you got to put some thought into this. You got to do it right. So if you do really want to do it, I think sleeves are still going to be in. I think it's going to be really weird at the beach in like 20, 30 years when some really old people have fucking sleeves. I mean, that's going to be weird. And like, girls with big suns and a unicorn on their lower back. And you're like, hey, is grandma, can you make more lemonade? Why do you have? So, I don't think you're far off on this, but look, when I see Chris Long's sleeves, I think they look awesome. But Chris Long was a millionaire putting some serious stuff together. And his advice was always, if you're going to do a sleeve, make the tattoos big so you can see them. And he has some really cool ones in there and it looks awesome, but he's also like Thor size. So sleeve on a skinnier guy, not totally against it. Maybe you have a skate shop, maybe you play in a Blink-182 cover band. I don't know what your resume is, but I would hold off a little bit because I think you answer your own question when you ask, am I jacked enough? Is that really the reason you want to do it? If you were 220, would you then get the sleeve? I don't think that's really what it's about right now. I would hold off until you have a little bit more cash and can put something together. Or unless you're totally rich, just look at other dudes' sleeves. Because you can't really, I guess you can do a do-over with sort of like, but eventually having black moons up and down your body to get rid of other tattoos you regret isn't going to look cool either. You're going to look like you just had cupping done all over your muscles. Hope that helps. Kyle, you can chime in here. You get some ink, bro.
You don't want tattoo advice from me. I think everybody knows that. I'm like the one guy, but the only thing I will say.
You want a sleeve?
No, I don't.
Do you?
The one thing I will say is like I was swatting away bad tattoo ideas for years, and some would say I ended up with a bad tattoo idea, but Roman numerals were always one of the first things that got swatted out of my head. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Cerruti has some Roman numerals, I believe, on his ankle. And it doesn't look bad. I think it looks no. It's on the inside of the wrist. And I think it looks good. So,
Yeah, most people I know that have tattoos have that some form of that. But
I just love that we
didn't feel right.
Yeah, we just solved all of John's problems. So let's stop. Yeah. Let's stop there. Let's just another life saved. Great job, us. All right. Please subscribe, rate, and review the Ryen Russillo podcast. And we will keep this train rolling. Talk to you Thursday.